Oh my gosh, what a great video. Welcome everybody. I'm Dee Everly, the administrator of the Todd County Historical Society, and it's our great pleasure to present the program to the marching Minnesota ambassadors, to Ray Gove, Orv Dolan, and so many other of you people that marched in the band, the families that supported all the programs, and everything else. You make Todd County proud. You put us on the map. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming today. And we'd love to have you share some stories if you like. And now I'm going to turn the program over to Jeff here. So thank you for coming.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I figured it's only appropriate to use the bandstand for my little speech down here. Right? We tried to do the whole drum roll, like everybody's attention, but it didn't work. So, yeah, thanks for coming. Special thanks to John Peters back here. This is being broadcast and recorded on Facebook Live for anyone around the world, on the internet, maybe even Mars, who knows, that can't be here in person to witness this. And Deanna did say that she will most certainly be showing this to Ray when she gets a chance. Ray will not be with us today. He's unable to travel, but he will see this, so we're hoping to have your stories and start thinking of them now. We'll give you some time to come up and speak to Ray, so to speak, if you wish, or tell a funny story or whatever you want towards the end. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Lucas. I'm the 1987 graduate of Long Prairie High School. 87, ooh, where are we? There's one. All right. Former trumpet and tuba player for the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors. Started out with trumpet, then I got lazy, decided to tuba because during field shows you only had to go up and down the 50-yard line and do all that stuff, so that's why I picked tuba. Thanks, Steve and the Todd County Historical Society for the display you see here and for the opportunity to speak today. It really is my honor to welcome you to today's celebration. We're here to pay tribute to not just an exceptional high school band, but to a legacy of music, discipline, and leadership that shaped so many of our lives across generations, the legacy of the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors. Central to all this, of course, is Mr. Ray Gove. Ray arrived in Long Prairie in 1963, and spanning a career of 37 years, Mr. Gove built a program that turns students into musicians and young musicians into leaders, and wasted no time making history. In 1967, the band took first place at the Red River exhibition in Winnipeg, Canada. That was their first big win. On a personal note, my mom, Glenda Elder Lucas, was the head majorette during that momentous win, and the uniform she wore is on display back here if you wish to go take a look at it with her headdress.
Jeff, could you have somebody look online? Just somebody's saying I have a bookcase in front of here and it's not showing on my screen. So you can
Does anybody have a phone that can maybe check the Facebook Live link just to see if it's working while we're moving along here? Give John a heads up if you can. In the decades that followed,
Peters?
Yes, sure.
AJ Peters.
Oh, no internet? Okay.
It's working?
It's working. Yep.
Okay.
Good. In the decades that followed this first big win, the ambassadors became more than a band. They became ambassadors of our small Midwestern town, our values, and our Minnesota spirit. From those early days, the band captivated audience, not just with their precision marching and musical dedication, but with an undeniable appetite for performance that truly set us apart. What truly made the ambassadors tick? As many have often asked, it was the unique combination of elements, including the foundational work of individuals like Orv Dolan, who's here today, Orv back in the corner, who laid the groundwork by teaching elementary and junior high band, and later assisting in the high school senior band. And at the heart of all this was Ray Gove. that is true.
I use my teaching voice. You gotta be familiar with that.
I've heard it many times.
Thank you very much, but I never wanted. I like sit in the background. All I did was show them how to take the board out of the case and how to put it together and how to blow a few notes. I didn't want it to be about me. It was all about the music and about the students. And I had such great students because they had such wonderful parents. And it was I used to tell Ray, everybody else in this world has to go to work every day. And we get to go to play. That's the exact truth. And I have son and daughter and relatives and nieces and nephews that don't like their job. I said, boy, I am sure sorry for that because I love my job. I have two brothers and a sister. They were all teachers and they were all married to teachers. You can't hear me? I thought everybody could hear me. But I thank you all very much, and I thank the city of Long Prairie. I'm gonna tell one story real short. How many people here remember that old steel building that was out here many years? You remember it? It was an agricultural building or something. It was torn down, I don't know, several years ago. When I went home and said I was going to Long Prairie, I was reminded that my uncle owned a carnival. And my dad ran the merry-go-round after he had gotten married. And my aunt was talking to my dad and said, "Oh, you remember Long Prairie? We played there in that big square building." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "That was a ways west of town or northwest of town, I guess, north of town a little bit." But he said, "Yeah, I remember that." He said, "What I remember is I was sitting up the merry-go-round and Len came to me and said, 'Tear that down.'" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I just got some people who are here from Sauk Center and they gave me $100 if I'd move a ride to them because they're having a celebration and they don't have any rides." So my dad said he tore it down. Yes, but that was not the good part. The good part was my dad ran that merry-go-round, but she said, "You remember where we went after we left Long Prairie? Went to that little town north," she said. "I think it started with Browerville, I think." And my dad, "No," he said, "I don't remember." "Oh, yes, you do. Don't you remember that big Pollock that came up and started giving you a bad time? And you got in a big fight with him right outside the merry-go-round?" And he got such a funny look on his face. He was so embarrassed. And he said, "No, are you sure that was?" "Yeah," she said, "because I went and got the gun and I shot up in the air and told him if he didn't get out of here, I was going to fill him full of lead." Now you know what kind of background I came from. No, my parents, my dad was wonderful and we had a great time. And I thank you for all this, but it wasn't about me. It was always about the music and about the students and about their instruments and their playing. I mean, as long as we were having a great time, that was what it was all about. And if you're learning something about music when you're doing it, that's all the better.
That's awesome. Yeah, at the heart of all this, obviously, was Mr. Ray Gove, a name synonymous with musical excellence in central Minnesota and really nationwide within the high school band scene of the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. With a Bachelor of Science and Masters of Science degrees in music, graduate of St. John's University, Ray dedicated his life to instilling the love of music and discipline in countless students. His philosophy was always about being there for the kids in a hands-on approach, focusing on doing good work and never resting. The impressive accomplishments of the ambassadors are a living testament to this philosophy. Ray's influence extended beyond bandstand and those never-ending wind sprints up and down the street, screaming, "No, no, no!" Everyone remembers that? Yeah. He was a mentor, a leader, and a source of inspiration, guiding young people not just in music, but in life. His commitment to education and his belief in the power of music truly left an indelible mark on generations. Of all the people here, how many of you were participants in the band? Holy cow, awesome. All students were welcome to join the band, and for those who could choose to participate, Ray had that one rule. You remember what it is? You're either all in or all out, right? Summer, winter, fall, spring. You would learn an instrument first, or would teach us would build that foundation, teach us how to play. I don't know how you did it. I have no idea how you did it. My parents have no idea how you did it, but you did. And by playing that instrument, that made you eligible then to participate in the front of the band, the color guard, the rifle squad. Gave you that opportunity to do that in the summertime. The ambassadors traveled extensively, showcasing their talents across the nation and even internationally. The sounds, and especially the smells of those long bus rides, forever burned into our senses. I still walk by a deer kill every now and then. I go, "Oh yeah, band trip." And even those bus drivers, I don't know where they got those guys, but they're saints wherever they are. Those guys are saints. Butch, yeah, that was one of them. Yeah. Learned a lot of good words from Butch. Yeah. From the vibrant streets of St. Petersburg, Florida, to the grand parades of New York and the national stage in Washington, D.C., the band always represented Minnesota and Long Prairie with pride and distinction. Their performance was a colorful pageant, a joyous celebration of music, camaraderie, and hospitality. The band's success wasn't just measured by the thunderous applause that we received, but also in the values that were imparted: discipline, dedication, and leadership. Every band member from this small Midwestern town knew that their behavior was constantly being observed. We knew we were being watched. And we rose to the occasion, 10 feet tall, always striving to display best talents. This dedication, fostered by Ray, Joan, and the entire support system, who a lot of them I see here, the band boosters, the tag-alongs, those band aiders, those guys, and the parents and the community members is what, like Ward said, really made us exceptional. Summer band practice in Long Prairie wasn't just a rehearsal, it was an event. During summer marching practices on the quaint and tree-lined streets of Long Prairie, the band always had a following. If you didn't see us coming, you heard us. While the adults would pull over and watch in their cars, not waiting for a road guard to stop them, they would just stop, dreaming of the days that they were in the band, or the young children of the community who dreamed of someday joining the band, who would take up position alongside their favorite section, twirling a baton, spinning a makeshift rifle like a stick or a bat or whatever they could find, or carrying anything that resembled somewhat of a flag. They would be tagging along, or they would just simply march along the instrument component and try to be 10 feet tall and stay in step with the big kids of the band. This was a band that created not just music, but belonging. The summer finale was the famous hoagie sale, right? Where the school cafeteria was transformed into an assembly line of sandwich making. Something that Henry Ford would have been so proud of. Hoagies were the lifeblood of many a deer hunter and fisherman, ensuring that they would have one or two stuffed away somewhere when they were at the tree stand or on the boat. By the way, we broke into the safe at the school and we have the hoagie recipe. Yep, it's posted back here on a table, and I've got a few copies up here, so feel free to take a picture and try to recreate it. And so for those of us or those of you here who may not have ever had a chance to witness the Marching Ambassadors, I've got a video clip. Getting ready to tune up here from the 1987 Minneapolis Centennial Torchlight Parade that I want to gather on.
Prairie, another Torchlight 11 conductor, the large Long Prairie High School band. The director is Gove. Now, this 120-member group has been cited for its high degree of musical and marching excellence and its consistently high standings in state and national competitions. For instance, couple first place in Class A Grand Day Parade held just last Saturday. Now, they're just back from an 11-day trip to Chicago and the Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Michigan, where they were grand champions. So this is apparently quite a good band, judging by all the awards it's won.
Now they are wearing what is considered a toy soldier style. And by the way, they'll also be playing at the Queen's Coronation Thursday night at the new National Market Square in the United States.
Well, here it is.
Now that color guard won Best Color Guard in the Grand Day Parade. We can just see why.
These bands have a lot on the line tonight, not only personal pride, the competition, they love the Torchlight competition, and knowing that their parents are probably going to watch
That's right. They're playing from
So I was in that parade, and I have one memory of that march. It was, you're kidding me, we're going to step off on the same time we bring our horns down. I was like, all right, here we go. And it worked. Yeah, we practiced it enough. Anything for TV. We've got a book, Orv's got a book put together, I believe it's over here, it'll be out on display here shortly, of all the awards through nearly 4 decades of performances that the band won through all the generations here. Just a few of them are on display back behind you there, and that trophy case truly overflowed at Long Prairie High School. The awards were not just accolades, they represented countless hours They were a testament to the enduring spirit of the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors and the tireless efforts of Gove. So today we honor not just a band, but a family. A family united by shared love of music and a commitment to excellence. We celebrate the past achievements and the lasting spirit of the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors. We express our profound gratitude to Gove for his invaluable contributions. Though we couldn't be here today, we do have a video that you'd like to watch. Hope you enjoy it. Time to get to it.
This is Mr. Gove. I'm happy to be here for this occasion to talk about the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors. I was a band director at Long Prairie High School for 30 years. And I'm proud to say that we accomplished many things for a small town, and we're very proud of it. I want to thank Deanna and the other people that helped put this together, and in the time that we can look back on the Marching Ambassadors as a integral part of the community. These past years, I would be distant to mention the Rose Bowl, the Macy's Parade, many times in the state of Florida, the Festival of States. We also participated in Michigan and Canada and Hawaii in some of our travels. We're very proud of them and of the people that supported us all those years. I'm also happy to say that we're very proud to represent the community of Long Prairie and the surrounding communities that supported us in our ventures for these festivals throughout the country. And I also want to thank all of the students that participated in this activity. Yeah, it became much more than just going to parade to competing. It was also a representative of the sign community. I'm happy to say that I'm appreciative of the community and of the people that made my family stay in Long Prairie such a memorable time in my life. And I want to thank everyone responsible for making the band a memorable event.
Yes, sir. Mr. Van Buebel, everybody.
First of all, I'm not used to speaking in large crowds. But with a man like Ray Gove, the commitment that he had to this community and our families, our children, and Jody and myself are proud to say that we had we contributed 4 kids to that band. And over the years, we're so proud of them and what they did. And as a parent, we visited many of these places where Ray had mentioned. One of the things that I was not real good at, though, was chaperoning. But I did do a chaperone trip to Florida one time. I remember this trip because we were in this big horseshoe-like hotel and pools and courtyards out there. I was my night to make room check. So as I'm going around the halls checking on these rooms to make sure our band kids were behaving, boom, across the yard runs a bunch of kids. Hey, get back to your rooms. But we're not with your band, sir. That's one of my memories of the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors. And deep in my heart, the music, even after they graduated, their children teaching them how to twirl rifles and do things that they would have never done without Mr. Gove. So God bless you, sir. It was good to hear from you.
Am I the only one who thought that story was a Gove? And there goes Ray and Orv across the picture. That's where I was going. I talked to Deanna Gove, and we took a count, her and Ray, and as far as they can remember, 9 former Minnesota Marching Ambassadors went on to a career in music, teaching music and crashes and whatever else. Yeah, cymbal crash. Thanks, Dan, for coming up. At this time, we'd like to open the mic up to anyone who's got a story they'd like to tell the audience and tell Ray. We've got Rhea Hosler, who would like to talk about being on the bus after Doc. Rhea, you're welcome to come out and talk. And anyone else, just kind of file on up and let's hear your stories. Oh, do you make me say the names? All right, hang on. Go ahead, Doc, we'll get it after you're done.
I'm Doc Wagner. I've had 7 children. 7 children in the band. I had 7 children in the band. One of them is here, Holly. She was in the rifle squad. And I guess all of our kids were in the band. And the one thing that they drew from the band was discipline. At times, they did want to quit. Probably some of you out there wanted to quit at times. But when they did, Cornell got out the whip. And they still talk about the band. Ray had a great support system which made this band successful. He had the superintendent, Don Hanson, on his side, but the nucleus of his support was Art, and of course, Joan. She was a slave driver. Love her or hate her, she was part of the integral part of the band. I myself, I never did play an instrument. I came from a family of 5 boys and 1 girl. My father was killed when I was in the 1st grade in an industrial accident. So my mother, she had to struggle, but she was just glad to see us get through high school. I mean, we were so poor. She had to cut holes in our pockets so we had something to play with. Anyway, Ray, he had the courage to take these kids, 120 plus kids, across the nation to visit Hawaii, New York, Florida, Michigan, Canada, California. I don't know where he got the guts to do this, but it was a tremendous responsibility. I myself wish I would have played an instrument. I would like to learn the piano because I like honky-tonk music and ragtime. I wish I could have had that opportunity. The other instrument I wish I learned how to play was the trumpet or cornet, where I always had the idea of getting up at the crack of dawn and playing taps, waking up the neighborhood. What else can I say about Ray? I call Ray the Herb Brooks of Long Prairie. He had fire in his heart. He came from a military family, and marching was his forte. Anyway, we do visit Ray once in a while in his at Murray's Commons in Egan. He seems to be in good health. He's happy, and I'm sure he would love to be here.
All right, before Rhea gets up here, the 9 students that they could figure out who went on for a musical career teaching music. Bruce Peterson, Ken Nelson. Bruce here? Yeah. Hey, there he is. The man himself. Ken Nelson. Is Ken here? Ken, hey, Ken. David Shea. I gotta ask if anyone's here now. Hey, David Shea? No? Jimmy Dempsey. Amy Schmidbauer. Paul Legel. Chad Klausman. Matt Merton. And Beth Stuck. I can never say the word. Stuck. Amy Schmidbauer? She's in St. Cloud area? Yeah. Oh, she taught some of the alumni here. Comes around full circle. All right, Rhea, would you like to come and tell us your bus stories? These gotta be good. Our bus angel, Rhea Effort.
Sure. How many of you go to the bus with me? We had a lot of fun. How I got my job. Ray Gove, going to different places, and he had a lot of parents that would come and call us, so forth and so on. He told me one time, he says, I wonder how they do that. Found out how, and he went to my boss, who was Mr. High school office, and Rain said, I call him Roy, it's easier. Roy, and he called me Reva. Roy said that we need something to help to get the parents on the buses and something to do. And he said, I need Rhea to help. And Mr. Hanson said, fine, she can do it. I didn't have anything to say. So that next day they told me, Rhea, you'll be getting some money from parents that want to go around to places. So that's how I started. And the first one was the Rose Bowl. And we, of course, you probably remember about the airplane we couldn't take because they ran strike. So between, that was one of the trips. Anyway, that's where I started. And it was New Year's Day. And to be very good for me, my daughter had her 17th birthday marching on the parade in Rose Bowl. It doesn't happen too often. So that's many years ago. So when I got there on one of the planes, we had back and forth, flying to California. And the fellow from Minneapolis, what's his name? He had a soccer team. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he had a whole vehicle full of different keys, and he was putting men and students together. Right? You remember that? And I said, well, that's his true. One of the teachers, I won't recall who it was. He was here, and his daughter was there too, and the kids were supposed to be over here, like half an hour. So he shoved those keys all to me, and he says, Rhea, you take care of your phone. Well, I worked in school for many years, and I know each name, where they lived, who their parents was, and the phone numbers. That was one of my jobs in school. So when we go places, I would take the phone calls, and Jody knows how we too. And there's several times I could tell you some story, but the main one was with Al Eric's people back there. We were going to Michigan, and we stopped overnight. And of course, I couldn't take care of the kids, I took care of the adults, which not easy. We had a lot of fun. Anyway, so I talked to Al, and I had went out looking and seeing if there's anybody outside. I was walking the halls, and there's 3 girls coming by the windows on the outside. Seven or 30. I thought, that's not right. So I followed them down, and I found out where they belonged and who the person was taking care of them. And I told her, I said, I think you better tell them to get out of bed because they didn't put their nightgowns on. So she had them get out of bed, and here they were all dressed in shoes and all their clothes. They had walked on the outside. So Al and Vicki and I, we spent the night 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning watching inside if the kids were off so they could come out the windows and having fun. So we had a lot of fun too. And they knew there for their own, not because they were mean, to enjoy it. And all the people that I met, we into different things. The main thing is, mentions, I think, on the way to Olympics and then parades is getting there and having everybody together. Whoops. Everybody together so that we could all holler and yell and it was very, very wide. I was on every trip from 1976 through 94. I couldn't get to Iowa. I didn't get down south there because of families. But I went to twice to Hawaii and all over Hawaii and just all over the place. I really enjoyed it. The one that I'll tell about is going down to Florida. And we had the kids' buses had problems. So we were my buses, the adults were staying overnight to go to the
Grand Ole Opry.
there you go. So we all went, we tried to, but we parked the bus, and then the driver of the bus and I went to go get our tickets for the big show. Well, they wouldn't let me take it. Well, we don't have a piece of paper that said I was. So I went out to the bus and I said, "What can you do so we don't get tickets?" I said, "Because Mr. Hanson, our superintendent, he's there and he wants to go too." So he said, "Get in, we'll find a phone." That's when the phones are out in the street. You could get one in any time for a quarter. He called and he got those tickets for me. He said, "Now go get your tickets." So the bus man turned around and he was always with us, the same guy. I went down there and they gave me all the tickets. I made them. We were through there, but the lady was real told late, wasn't like Jody. Then we got out of the band. And here during the time, the kids' band had been put in repair. And each one of the kids took stuff from this and this and this, moved it to another bus and this and this. And we had everything in another bus. Everything was correct. They could march good and they put all our clothes, everything that we had on our bus was put on their bus so we could have it in the morning. Their bus would be fixed by then and they could keep on going. Our bus. And fixed it that way. And nothing else. Just like you walk in there with your clothes. Anything you left. The kids all moved to the exactly place. It is wonderful. I didn't, when we had to get something like air conditioner didn't work. And I couldn't get in my room. I don't know many people through it. We had to wait till the next town to get it done. Fixed. You probably remember that. Yeah. So there's many, many, many different things. And thank you so much for being part of it and being part of it. It's been wonderful for me and my family.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will print out the comments we're getting here so people that don't use Facebook see what's being said.
Anybody else got a story? Come on up.
I will try to be fast. I graduated. I'm sorry. I was getting your job. Jeez, so patient. My name is Annette Binder now. I was a Turk. I was the youngest of the three Turks. My sister graduated in 87, my brother in 89, and I graduated in 90. I was on one of those Hawaii trips, and one of the most memorable things for me from band was getting food poisoning from Prairie's smorgasbord in Hawaii and being deathly ill for 2 days, to the point of delirium. I actually threw up on the beach in Hawaii. That was interesting. But I still got up, even though I was sick, even though I pretty much didn't know where I was, and I marched in that hula bowl halftime because missing was unacceptable. That was something we didn't do. We didn't miss. But the other thing I wanted to say is about Mr. Gove's legacy. He was in Long Prairie for however long, and then he retired, but he continued to do music. And he actually would travel around to schools and match kids with their instruments when they were first learning. He actually matched both of my kids with their band instruments when they started playing. And then my kids went on to be taught by Amy Schmidbauer, who was also in my sister's class. So it wasn't something that just stopped here. It was a legacy that went on, and it was for generations. My kids both do music now. They're not instrumentalists. They're both singers. My son actually does play the guitar. He has his own band actually, but Mr. Gove's legacy lives on even through our children. So just wanted to say thank you so much to Mr. Gove and to everyone who put in so much time and effort so that we could do the things that we did.
Anybody else? None now. None more, everybody. It's raining outside. I can't leave anyways.
Holy crap, you guys look old. Don Moore, class of 82, Karen, Baby Cash, Holly, who else? 82? Can we agree, class 82, had the loudest buses, we're the most out of control, right? We were going to cause problems everywhere we went, right? And we had the band down as director in our class, so we were free to do anything. Okay? I guess what I want to say, if I'm on the screen, to Mr. Gove and all of the ambassador family, taking it down just a little bit. You mentioned it, leadership, and we're always winners, right? Every one of you in this room attached to the Minnesota Marching Ambassadors is a winner, because it all stems back to the tradition that came out of the ambassadors. I have two sisters that were ambassadors as well. And so I just want to thank everyone that supported all of us, allowed us to do what we did, and to make sure that we were winners and pushed us to be our best. So thank you. Class 82.
Sure. Brenda Shank from class of 73. Any 73ers here? Mr. Gove, you taught us leadership in a different way. But I remember one of the first years in band is when you apologized to us that maybe if you would have picked a different song, or we would have worked on one skill a little differently, we would have won. And he felt like he let us down. And that built such loyalty, and it's a lesson that we've taken forward. And how many of us in the band still walk in step with our partners or whomevers? Yes, yes. And our partners have a lot of fun messing with us, right? Do a little skip and get off of it. So, thank you.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Tom this last week. And those of us who went on into the military, thank you, Mr. Gove, because marching practice in the military was a time that we could take a nap. We knew how to do it. We've been there. We've done that. We had it down. That was a nice career.
I am Mark Kester, who was Polish. Mark Polish Kester, class of 1977, I listed in.
Judy Zeller, Beaver, class of 77.
Okay, I'm just be quick. I was a latecomer in Long Prairie. My family moved here at the end when I was in 8th grade, 1972. I had a big band. I never played instrument other than violin or viola. So our dads worked together. So Judy had to be my first friend. So she was in band, and so my parents said, "You're going to be in band." So I talked to Mr. Gove and Mr. Dolan, and I played French horn very poorly. I don't know why they ever let me stay in band. I think my parents paid them because I don't think I memorized my music ever. I can get those offbeats every now and then. Anyhow, Mr. Gove is one of the few people that was allowed to live that called me Barbie. So that was a nod, but that was what he always called me. The things that I just remember the most were, I don't know how, even till when my kids were in band, how he jumped over that wall on the courthouse. I don't know how he did that. Every practice, he'd hop up there,
and watch the band from the top of the hill. So I did the band thing. Our first big trip was the Rose Bowl. That first time ever on a plane for me. And then I went through, we had 3 kids that were also in band. The girls were fine in band, the boys not so much liking it, but he was there most of the time. So we chaperoned, and I have never seen such an organized bunch of people. I don't know how they did that. Everything, they knew exactly what they're doing all the time. I mean, most of the time. But everything was just precision. Mrs. Gove, Mr. Gove, the Dallins, everybody was incredible. So I think that's all I have. I just thank you. You've taught us a lot. I mean, it was a lot of work. We whined sometimes, but it was all worth it.
And I have to give my credit to some of my parents, Joanne and Delmer Zeller. I don't know if some of you had them as chaperones, but the Goves were very good friends, and they had very many conversations at our house or at their house about band. So my sister Jane was 6 years older, so she was in bed, one carrying one of the American flag there, and so yeah, it's just you just have that dedication. And then also I had a thing happen that when I was in Wadena, the director asked me, he goes, I heard you twirl rifle in the Long Prairie band, so it's okay, I will help. So my boss let me get the rifle started in the Wadena band too. I twirled rifle because I only failed playing clarinet. So, thank you.
I have so many stories I could tell you. You're kind of what I did mostly with the band was chaperone. I could tell you about getting lost with Rhea in the subway in New York City. We had Chinese that night for Thanksgiving dinner. I could tell you about my son accidentally mooning Mrs. Gove one night. But the main thing that I wanted to tell you about was how proud I was. I went for the newspaper as photographer reporter in '78 to Macy's. And my kids weren't even in band then. They were 5 years away from it. I was so proud of the band kids. When we went to the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier, it brings tears to my eyes even now, telling you about it. All of these kids, 100 and some kids, and all of the chaperones standing at the tomb of the unknown soldier. And you could have heard a pin drop. Those kids were so attentive. They paid such good attention. They were so impressed. And the rest of us were in awe of those kids. And all of you, if you were in that band, or if you were a parent of a child in that band, I just want you to know how amazing your children were. Again, like I said, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody. Oh yeah, I was on that track.
I enjoyed being in the school and knowing all the kids and chaperoning and food sales. How many boxes of cinnamon rolls do you think we sold? Unloading a trailer of cinnamon rolls, French fries, other things. And my favorite horrifying experience was chaperoning to Florida. I had to pick up a Ford LTD at the airport in St. Petersburg. We landed in Tampa, I think. So Dan and I don't know how we got to the airport in St. Petersburg, but we picked up this car, and I was instructed to drive it didn't really know how to get to the hotel, and was driving along the freeway at probably 60 miles an hour, and the road came to an end. I got that huge vehicle stopped, and Dan said, "What you gotta do now?" I said, "I'm gonna sit here, Pop." And we ended up going through a not so good area and locking our doors. And all of a sudden I saw something that looked a little like the road we had taken to get to the hotel. And by cracky, it was the right place to go. The next morning, we were eating on the beach. Dan walked up to Joan and said, "She's not driving that car anymore, you gotta find somebody else." So that was my most memorable recall. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with you. But I think we need to hear from Moses.
Moses, where is he? Mr. Todd, right? He's still here? Oh, he's back there hiding. Yeah. Funny Moses story. I was passing through Sleepy Eye. No. Okay, no. Sorry, St. Peter. Passing through St. Peter, past Arby's. There was like one car in the Arby's parking lot. I thought, might as well go in there. We can get in and out quick. Walk up to the counter. Moses? You turn around? Yeah. Yeah, we're over here right too. Moses! Al! Come here! You got one story? Oh, 87.
Where were we? Florida? Well, I've been here.
Yeah.
Florida. When the race started, I was in 5th grade. And I stayed 2 years longer than Ray. Ray retired, I stayed 2 more years with Suzanne.
Wow. 39 years. Yeah, because Ray did 37.
Yeah, but I was in the band and then I was helping after that. So. Which one? What trip? I seen something the other day. They said the Macy's trip was wonderful. From our perspective, the Macy's trip was another word. It was terrible because we traveled with Greyhound and we took a motorhome. We pulled into the Chicago bus stop. We thought we were going to make coffee on this motorhome. All of a sudden, there goes buses. So it was like, hurry up. Then you got further out east. You couldn't follow the buses, so you tried to follow it random path. I was in the middle of 5 lanes of traffic. New York City says 15 feet, and then the motorhome it says 14 feet. So I stopped. And then all these people are going, yeah, go ahead, you make it. We did it. I lost Troy Conley on the first meal out in New York City. He's with me because I get all the good kids. We go to McDonald's 2 blocks away. I can't find him. Here he went back for his coat and he was with Ray and Jones. Life was good. We jumped on the subway. They said, there's like 10 groups of us. Next subway, everybody jump on. Okay. My group, the other group, we jumped on. There's the other 8 groups as we're going by on the subway. So we just got off. We sang in the rain after we got kicked out of St. Paul Cathedral. We had all of the band students in one bus on the way to Chinatown to eat. And on the way back, we got all the students and all the chaperones on one bus. I don't even have to ask the kids that were involved, but I think there was like 8 or 10 just in the bathroom. I'm not telling that story.
beer tents over there. We got one more.
I could tell you stories from, I don't know, I didn't go in 1973 to Florida. I didn't go to the Cherry Festival parade because I wasn't a good instrumentalist. In 68 or 69, whenever they went. I drove to Dundee. Otherwise, I've been on all of them. Ray missed one parade. Remember when I took the band and then he said, well, Warb will come along and march with them. Ray had to go do something else, so I took the band to Sock Center. And Orv came along for the ride. And then he marched in the parade. I could tell him when I turned 40. I could tell you when I'm 40. That's not a band. That's kind of a director.
I know what they said when they saw you walking along. That's how you got the nickname. They said, I know what that band lives on the side of Mount Moses. I never heard that.
You guys heard that? People on the side of the road? Yeah, Moses would say.
We never could find his stick. We lost his stick. That's one thing I know.
Or just said he would hear comments on the sidewalks as we're marching by, and people see Moses going, oh, that's why they're winning. They got Moses on their side.
The Macy's parade, Pasadena's the only parade I didn't march in or walk along with the band. But the Macy's parade, there was some guy that got arrested right before we went on TV that had about 20 cans of lighter fluid taped to him. Apparently he wasn't supposed to be, but he's like, you know, he was looking away. And he'd drink the fluid and then spit it out and light it on fire. But he did that the whole parade route until we got down to the cameras. I don't know. I could tell you lots of stories that we don't have.
You stick around and tell stories? Yeah. Thanks, Moses. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Let me tell you the story.
Oh, we got one coming.
Let me tell you the story real quick. And you wasn't going to tell. Quick. Real quick. I thought, get on that chair. Where's Al? You know, and Alberta. And that's that. We had the night shift, and we were just checking on the kids and everything. We got hungry and we said, okay, on that. Who's going to make some pizza? Hey, you can hear me because I'm going to be close. Anyway, I said, Al Kirk lost, and he went to get the pizza. And he never came back, and he never came back. And I said, what? What do you suppose happened to him? Pretty soon I saw him come in the door, and he had this strange look on his face. And he said, boy, he says, this nighttime in Honolulu is sure different than the daytime. No, what are you talking about? He said, I think I was propositioned 3 times before I got back there and couldn't go back. Anyway, I didn't think it was that bad, the story. Somebody said, no wonder it took you so long.
This will be quick. I'm Deborah Rachel Gerger, and I graduated in 1969. So there's a few of us from back in that day. And I was lucky enough to be on the trip to Winnipeg. And Ray was so clever, he had us play a song that was the equivalent to America to the Canadian crowd. And everywhere we marched, everybody would jump up on their feet and cheer us. Do you remember that, Ken? Yeah, so it was awesome. And then we also were on that trip in 1968. We got to Washington, D.C. just after Martin Luther King was assassinated. We had worked very hard that year, marching, practicing, raising money, getting everybody out of school while we were gone, and we ended up never being able to even take our instruments out of the cases because everything was canceled. And I remember riding the bus out of Washington, D.C. as the National Guard came into the city. So it was really memorable, right? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, just have to add add one thing, because I was also lucky enough to have my daughter, who graduated in 1995, be able to be in Ray's band too. And so then we were the tag-alongs and the chaperones. It was awesome.
Thank you. Well, before Orb serenades us with his musical talents, one thing I just want to make sure to mention when we're here. Deanna and Ray brought their photo albums from the 70s, 80s. We've got a tub of uniform accessories that they kept, kind of like a sample of each of the uniform accessories. We were able to display some of them up here. We're going to keep a set of these for the museum. But the photo albums, or any photo in there, and any item in this tub up here are free for anyone to take, courtesy of Ray and Deanna. So if there's something that you wore, or you knew someone who wore, I smelled them, they're pretty good, so you shouldn't worry about that. But yeah, those will be up here available for anyone who'd like to go through and grab a piece of memorabilia if you wish. All right, well, Ray, everyone else? Unless there's anybody else? Oh, we got a couple things for, okay, Dean, come on up.
What an interesting group. I didn't join the band, well, I didn't play in the band. And all the stories we hear, I wish I would have, because you guys had more fun than you had work. So that's what I like. But anyway, I want to thank AJ Peters for helping Jeff, and Dave Freeman put the program together on the screen so we could all watch it and send it off to Ray, right? Yeah, so Ray's in the nursing home watching us. And what I really want everybody to do is to sign a guest book that we have so we can send it off to Ray. Because I'm sure he'd enjoy watching this, looking at this. And we also put together a little history about the band. So we have some flyers here. If you want one, you're welcome to take one. And if there aren't any left, you can call the museum and we can get them to you. So thank you for all for coming. And we made this a very special day. And you made Todd County very proud with all your music and tours and fun. So I'm going to turn this back over to Jeff. Thank you.
All right, I think that wraps it up. Wall to wall, 10 feet tall, right? All right, play us out, Orv. If you want to.
All right, I'm going to tell you one thing. Ray and I, how can I say it? If we were out and about on a Sunday, he insisted we have a service. Sometimes Father Rummacher was with it. Ray was a Catholic, and I was a Protestant, but my brother is Catholic. In fact, I sang Ave Maria at his mother-in-law's funeral. But I'm not going to sing about Ave Maria. But I just wanted to let you know. I talked to Ray one time and he said, or I said, we couldn't do now what we did then. And I said, I know that. He said, somebody would have complained. Somebody would give us a bad time because we had a service. I remember one time, Dan Nemo and I, if you remember, we didn't have a church to go to. We didn't have a service, but it was a Sunday morning, and Ray came to me and he said, "You and Dan do something. I don't even remember what we did. Maybe read some scripture. You remember it though? I think it was in Florida, if I remember right. But I've been a Gideon for over 30 years, and I didn't know how to preach to anybody, but I could always sing a song or I could always give them a Bible. And I think I'd like to end this with a song, Amazing Grace, if you'll let me, you'll have to hold it. I'm not sure I can play all this. And I'm not even sure if this instrument's in tune, but I'll try. Hold it down. amazing grace, how sweet the sound, yes, that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. We've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. First begun.